Do you want to be able to do exactly what I showed you on this first battle? It's kind of easy, honestly. Uh, Hello, basically what I'm gonna do here is tell you how to make a meta team that is capable of wiping out enemy teams in the multiplayer in 4 or even less actions. And that also works for things like the Holy Ruins, or also to do fights in the Demonic Tower without, dragging the combat too long and losing HP and all of that. Uh, I'm gonna do like two different variants of that theme. This video is gonna have the first variant and is based on what you just saw at the start of the video. So, uh, we're gonna need 4 specific characters, and basically, I'm gonna be telling you exactly what skill do you need for what purpose and what is the role of each character. First character is No Dead No Life, also known as Seshi, this ugly thing right here. And we're gonna need this character for the passive skill and the first skill. That means Judgment of Heresy and Double Space Slash. First of all, the Double Space Slash is gonna be an area of effect attack that is gonna hurt 3 people or 3 enemies at max. You can aim the skill to mainly attack one of the 2 enemies that are on the center of the enemy formation, and with that you're gonna be able to hit 3 persons with the skill at the same time instead of 2 persons or 2 enemies like most people usually use this skill for. This basically is gonna be 140% attack to both characters, to all the enemies that you're hitting. And yeah, it says that if they are immobilized, it's gonna have increased crit and increased critical damage. In this case, that is not gonna be playing here because she says she is gonna be having the first turn. She has a lot of speed, and if you have her 4 stars or more, that is the recommended at least 4 stars. She's gonna gain extra 20 speed, and so she's gonna have the first turn. She's not gonna be attacking anyone immobilized because no one has been stunned yet. So it's just gonna be a area of effect attack that is gonna hit 3 people for a total of 140% attack, and that's it. If you have this character to like six, let me see, to 6 stars, yeah, she is gonna perform a chase on the enemies, treating them as if they were immobilized. So, but that only applies when she's faster than the objective. So, mostly you're gonna throw the double space slash to one of the 2 enemies in the center of the enemy formation. You're gonna hit 3 people with this, and if she is 6 stars, for example, in my case, if the enemy survives the initial hit, she's gonna perform a chase that is gonna do a basic attack with the steel fist, and it's gonna deal extra damage based on the difference of speed between No Dead No Life and the target, as well as nullifying 25% of their total defense. Aside of that, she's also gonna steal speed and all of that. What you have to know here is basically if she is 6 stars, after the initial hit of the double space slash, she's gonna perform a chase to the main objective or the main target. Is gonna deal extra damage with a basic attack, and she's gonna deal even more extra damage that can nullify part of the enemy defense if she is faster than the target, if she has more speed. After Seshi turn, you're gonna be using the raw Hamuske, the Hamuske Mark defense type, this one right here. And also, it's gonna be because of the passive skill and then for another skill. First off, the passive skill, the important part here, to be able to perform that wipeout on the entire enemy team is because this second point right here, when an ally damage skill is used, it deals additional true damage equal to 75% of Hamuske's physical defense. That means that the higher the defense of this character is, the higher the extra damage all of her allies are gonna have. So you put this character in here on the team or on the composition to provide extra damage in a very passive way. It's gonna be able to add extra damage just by existing, just by being there. And then, in my case, by speed, by speed points, the rating here, this is gonna be my second character to play. I don't so, I don't freaking like that voice. Sorry. Uh, then, as my second turn, Hamuske plays in, and then I throw the boom cannon. The boom cannon basically is another area of effect skill that deals damage based on her attack and her physical defense. That also puts high tier defense down on the enemy and blah 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 blah. Important part here to wipe up the enemy. Big area of effect attack that deals a ton of damage. You're throwing a mini nuke at the enemy. And that is, in as you were able to see on the first clip or the first combat, that is basically what exterminates the remaining of the enemy team. Whatever could be alive at that point. Then big team is also gonna be there on the team for a very similar reason to Hamosuke. Also, we go to the skill set here, and big team is gonna be there or gonna be needed mostly for his passive skill, the flesh sacrifice, and mostly because of this first point. Basically, he's gonna reduce his HP by 50%, and he's gonna grant attack converted from 8% of the reduced portion of health, plus 12% of his own attack to all allies. What does this mean? Well, this means that everyone on his team is gonna enjoy or is gonna, get benefited from extra attack based on two things. Big team 50% of HP that is missing as soon as the game starts, and big team total attack. So big team passively, just by existing on your team, is gonna be adding more damage to your team. It's just gonna be providing you extra damage that is gonna affect Seshi, because the extra damage from big team and the extra damage from Hamusuke is added to Seshi attacks, to both the double special slash and the chase that she's gonna perform. And with that, hopefully, Seshi is gonna take down 3 enemies, and Hamusuke is gonna kill the remaining enemy. He's gonna wipe out that one. But even if it doesn't, if that enemy survives, you can use either this Albedo, the anniversary version, or you can go for Pestonia. In this case, I will use Albedo for the Supreme Tribute skill, mostly because it increases the target turn meter boost. Basically, I throw this skill to Seshi, I make her take a turn faster than usual, and it's gonna increase her critical damage by 45%, which is a lot, and also she does area of effect damage that ignores part of the magical defense of the enemy. So Albedo can bypass part of their defense and kill them as, the last turn of the first round, or accelerate Seshi turn so she gets a second turn before even the enemy gets one, and she kills them with the ultimate or something like that. The variant is using Pestonia. Discord, huh? I never use Discord. Well, anyway, the other variant is Pestonia. You will use Pestonia and throw her ultimate to, for example, Seshi in this case, and she will gain a lot of turn meter boost. She's gonna play again and be able to throw the ultimate to the last enemy alive and kill it. Or even if you don't want to do that, you just wait for victim turn. You throw any of victim attacks that you see, good for that moment. Could be the first skill, could be the ultimate or a basic attack, and say she's gonna perform a chase right after victim. So that is basically the combo. You use Seshi to guarantee that you're gonna have the first turn. You throw the second skill of the first active skill of Seshi, that is that area of effect skill. You're gonna hit 3 enemies. Hopefully, you're gonna kill those 3 enemies based on the damage that is gonna have, thanks to victim passive, to Hamusuke's passive, as well as Seshi own passive skill. And if the enemy survives, she is gonna do a chase, is gonna kill the enemy, and you're gonna have just 1 enemy remaining in multiplayer, for example, when you only fight 4 enemies. And then you can use Hamusuke to throw the next attack, hopefully putting high tier defense down on the enemy, And if it doesn't die with the explosion of Hamuske's ultimate, so she's gonna perform a chase if she is 6 stars and it's gonna kill it. Even if the enemy survives because it's incredibly tanky or whatever, you still have Victim and you still have either Anniversary of Velo or Pestonia turn. And if you're facing someone with, for example, Indomitable, like Tank Coquetus, you can use Anniversary of the turn, and instead of throwing, the second skill or something like that, you can throw either the ultimate or the basic attack. The ultimate could treat, Coquetus in an execution way, so he could die without even triggering his Indomitable, or even if Indomitable got triggered, she can bypass it, or the basic attack because she can steal two buffs from the enemy and transfer it to the ally with the highest attack. These cases will be between Seshi, Victim, and herself because the two characters are S on attack. And I have tested it before. Yes, Albedo is capable of stealing Indomitable buffs from other characters. So she can take that from, for example, other Anniversary Albedos or from Tank Coquetus, for example, or from Sariusu, and, make them die. So that is the combo. And the last thing you have to take in consideration or have in mind is what kind of teams you're gonna face. If you want to do something like what I did, that is basically, wipe out an entire enemy team in 2-3 moves, 2-3 actions, it's gonna be focusing on squishy characters. Like, for example, you're not gonna fight this second or fourth team because they have Anniversary Albedo. She's gonna be able to keep them alive. But the first and the second one have squishy characters, Momon, Seshi, and Idol Shelter. They're gonna die very very easily. So you're gonna try to focus on fighting squishy teams. Teams that only have one tank or two tank and no healers. Teams that don't have any way to revive instantly, like what limited Nave or limited Momon or Anniversary Albedo can do. And even if you want to face, harder teams, you're still able to put up a fight and still be really really dangerous because you already wasted, some ultimates. In that case will be like Hambuski ultimate or Avel ultimate, but you still have a lot of damage. And you still have a nice composition because you will have one tank that will be Hamuske. It's going to increase everyone physical defense, so you're covered on that department. It provides you a stun and all of that. You have Victim. Victim is a mage, an area of effect mage, so he can lower the enemy magical defense, he can stun the enemy with the ultimate, he can die multiple times and still throw the ultimate one and second or even 3 times in a row. So he can constantly keep the enemies stunned or damage it. Not only that, but he can also. How annoying is people sending me messages? Anyway, Victim can also put buff absorption, debuff on the enemies. So he's still a threat. If the enemy will have to take him down, but you still have Albedo, and Albedo can give invulnerability to all of her allies. She can heal, shield, and all of that. And you still have Seshi with the ultimate. That is also another different threat to the enemy. So you still have a nice composition. Even if you don't wipe out the enemy, you still are able to put up a fight and mostly have most chances of winning that, at least more than the enemy. And yeah, that will be it. I'm gonna do another video for a different kind of composition for people that may not have something like Seshi, or that may not have maybe the other of the characters. I think I'm gonna do another variant based more on area of effect damage and magical damage, because this is more of a physical damage variant of the team to wipe out the enemy. And if you don't go to the multiplayer, well, you just go, and because everyone except Victim has very nice speed, you're gonna be able to constantly spam the characters and kill the enemy. Even if Albedo seems like B in speed and doesn't seem that fast, she can accelerate her own turn meter with ultimate. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. And that said, well, I'm gonna let you like see a bit more of those combats, so you're able to see how you can easily wipe out the enemy just like I did, using just the synergy that I told you, and maybe like 6 stars on Seshi, and that's it. The other characters could be even at 3 stars and there's no problem with it. So yeah, thanks for hearing, and bye bye or whatever.